I can tell you this much, Nicholas. There will not be 40 minutes of dead air when you and I are live. We can run an effective stream, baby. Some people can, but we sure as hell can. And
Wow.
I'm just gonna warn the people now to strap in and strap on because you're gonna see our mugs and hear our voices a lot this evening in a couple of different segmented shows that we're doing for this week because we have something special. We have something cooking. But I will stop dilly-dallying, Nicholas. I will stop beating around the bush, and I'm gonna dive right in. See, that was a euphemism. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of all ages, Geeks Worldwide Radio and the Dork Shared Gooniverse proudly present to you the greatest, the finest, the most spectacular podcasting team in the world. He's the not so humble comic book writer, Nick Friar. I'm your friendly neighborhood chiropractor, backcracker, Jesus Christ, Dr. Joe. Together we are the TLDR Comic Book Club, baby. That might be the quickest JC drop in my podcasting career right there.
Yeah, well, this is what you get for taking shots like that, I guess. But
Take a shot,
anyways,
please. I will point out incompetence when I see it, Nicholas.
I was talking about me not being humble. But yes, Joe is right. We have a busy night, a busy week for our listeners because we are doing what's new right now. Normally, that means we are doing a Friar Side chat, which the only place you can hear those are on our audio channel. So that's Apple, Spotify, Geeks Worldwide Radio, Amazon, Pocket Cast. You name it, we're there. Make sure you subscribe to one of our audio channels. Leave a 5-star rating review, or the highest rating that you can leave. Otherwise, you're going to learn the real meaning of backcracker. Again, that's the only place you can find our Friar Side chats. Those are conversations with creators across the industry. We are taking a break from that this week, which means we are doing a mainline. But we are doing what's new separate from mainline this week. We normally do not do that because, Joe, we have our 100th mainline episode of TLDR this week. I cannot believe we are finally here.
Yeah, it only took us four plus years to get there, which is wow. We will discuss more of that in the when we get to it, but like that's fucking wild, man. Like, and we had plans. We were on pace. Pardon my my squeakiness. To do this episode back in June. And then we said, oh, no. We need fun in the sun. This guy needs to travel to Paris, which you should have hung around, Nicholas. You should have stayed in Paris an extra week or so because you could have easily meddled in the breakdancing.
Oh, thank you.
100%. 100% you could have gone on and just walked on and walked off with a gold medal. That is one of my most favorite things in the world is all the cut ups with that wonderful break dancer from Australia. My favorite is you see her dance and then you see cats just flopping around on the ground, scratching their back. It's brought me a lot of joy.
The guy who won for men's in from Canada, dude, that guy was insane. I don't know if you've seen that because he was like legit. I've seen the Australia stuff, obviously. It's but the guy from Canada who won his like winning round, like I was stunned, and I just happened upon it. Had no intention of watching it, but I was like, wow, this shit's like
it's almost as if he had done it before.
Yes, exactly. But yes, we were on pace to do this. I mean, heck, we were on pace to do this a lot earlier than this year. But obviously, we mentioned the Friar Side chats. Those have gotten in the way. But again, we will reflect on that more. If you are watching us right now on any of our streams, whether that's on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter/X, we'll be doing that after our stream of what's new. If you're listening to us in audio form, you can go and find those recordings on any of those channels. Or if you just prefer to do audio all the time, you'll be able to catch the TLDR 100th episode on Thursday. We'll be dropping that at midnight So a little bit after, a little bit later than we would normally. But we want to keep things separated because we have a lot to get to, of course, with what's new, and then a lot to get to in TLDR 100. Last thing before we get to catching up, Joe, I mentioned it last week, the Cloakroom Volume 2. I was a part of Volume 1. Volume 2, they're doing the Kickstarter campaign for that right now. It is ongoing. If you enjoy the Cloakroom 1, make sure you go and back this one. I got a chance to read some of the stories, and particularly the first two. You got a corporate hell, and it's not like, oh, I'm stuck in corporate hell. It's like, no, hell is actually being treated like a corporation. Really enjoyed that. That's what kicks things off with the Cloakroom 2. And then you get this mystery story that I've known about and been dying to read. And even though I knew what happened, I was still blown away, still really enjoyed the experience. So I'm very excited for people to get a chance to look at this. And if you're wondering, like, Nick, why the Cloakroom Volume 1, I didn't get a chance to look at that. Again, that's something that I was featured in. If you didn't get a chance to pick that up, make sure you go back to Kickstarter for Cloakroom Volume 2 because they have that available for you as well. They have it in digital. I think it's an add-on in digital. And then if you want it as a hard copy, there may be a package that has it, or you may be able to get it straight up on its own. So make sure you guys go check that out. It's a great way to support new creators from Scott Snyder's writing class. So go ahead and check that out on Kickstarter. Again, search the Cloakroom, search Scott Snyder. You should be able to find it there. But that is it for housekeeping stuff, Joe. Let's get into catching up. What do you got for me?
A few books. I got a mystery book that you will find out about if it's we call this a big market tease.
Oh,
long tease. You'll find out more what this mystery book is on TLDR 100. Mm-hmm. Ultimate Spider-Man issue 7, fantastic series. I'm absolutely loving that. Sanction issue 3. I can't wait for this series to wrap up because it needs to be discussed quickly on TLDR.
Nice.
101, which will probably drop in January. And then Hellverine issue 3. I had to catch up on that because issue 4 drops this week.
Nice. I guess I could say I have a mystery book as well to throw into catching up. A book that I've also been working on. I was reading it while I was away, didn't get a chance to finish it, and I was reading it on Hoopla, so I had to it expired, and I was up to my limit in books, so I had to wait to get back into it. Department of Truth, and I had read it, and then it went on pause, so I kind of actually stepped away from it after the first arc and didn't try and finish it. Now that it's back, I went and reread everything that I had read and have gotten past where I read. And Joe, I am not kidding when I tell you I read the Doc Hines origin issue. So in the the supersized or double whatever size volume of Department of Truth that I'm reading on Hoopla, it's 15 issues. Dude, I read that. So that came after the first arc. I have never had my skin crawl like I did in that issue. And for those who are all caught up on Department of Truth or read that issue, it is the Men in Black Suits issue. And dude, I was reading it at night and it was a big fucking mistake. I generally don't have issues with that with horror comics. I'm usually fine. But I am telling you, I have never had such a tough time sleeping. That was one of the worst nights I've had sleeping. And I have to wake up early on Tuesday. So it was brutal. It was, oh my God, dude. I'm not kidding. I saw the image and I was I got shivers unlike I've ever had in my entire life, reading or watching anything.
That's Martin Simmons for you, right? His art is so, what's the word I'm looking for? It is so vivid, right? In the sense that it's borderline disturbing at times. And so you're at a point now. So I think this was real peak Department of Truth. And then this is right before, I believe I have my timeline correct, before Tynan started his stuff, announced his Substacks venture. And so you're coming up to a period of Department of Truth where the pacing gets, there's a whole sort of a series of issues on cryptids, which fits the narrative, fits, what the Department of Truth is all about. It does fit the larger part of the story, but you talked about this with Die and with other books. It's a commitment. Department of Truth is a commitment like no other because there is so much to take in. And it does get, the pacing of it does slow tremendously. So it's sort of flatline's not the right word, but sort of just evened out for a bit. It was just there was this period where it just, and then it ramps up a bit, and then bam, it goes on a a very, very, very long hiatus, and since its return, it's been excellent because it's, I think, to me, gone back to its roots.
Nice.
Right from the beginning. So I'm glad you loved it, because yeah, I know where you're at. That is freaky deaky, as the kids
Yeah,
would say.
man, it was terrifying. But that is I obviously am showing my hand, so I'm not going to be including that in the TLDR 100. But that is absolutely like obviously one of the best books that you've ever recommended on this show. But we'll get into more of reflecting on books that we've previously recommended on this show during TLDR 100. Right now, we got to get into what's new this week in comics, Joe. Let's start off with Marvel, as we do.
Yeah, I feel like we're in the little sort of doldrums now with comics for this. Like, this is like a lot of people are on vacations. Not a lot of volume dropping this week, except from Marvel, because there's always 1,000 books. So we have the Amazing Spider-Man issue 55, the Ultimates issue 3. We have Venom issue 36. We have X-Men issue 2, a book that we are both looking forward to. This is Jed MacKay and Ryan Stegman. We have Fantastic Four issue 23. I just had a stroke.
Oh, I was gonna say, wait, did you have a tough time with your acronyms?
I literally, my brain just went blank.
Okay.
Immortal Thor, issue 14. Darth Vader issue 49. Vengeance of the Moon Knight issue 8. Sensational She-Hulk issue 10. Spider-Boy issue 10. Wolverine issue 4, which is the end of this arc. But little spoiler, it does end with Wolverine will return. So take that for what it's worth. Venom War Spider-Man issue 1. Spider Society issue 1. Werewolf by Night issue 1. And then we have Ultraman and Avengers issue 1. This is one I wanted to read, didn't get a chance to, and this is written by our good friend
Higgins,
Kyle Higgins. Right? Yep. And a book we both want to discuss. I enjoyed it very much. X Factor issue 1. This is written by Mark Russell and drawn by Bob Quinn.
Yeah, what a tandem these two make, and we know that they've done work together in the past. And I love how they started things off. This is very self-aware. This is very meta. Just all around a funny fucking first issue, and it's only going to get better from here based off the foundation that they laid in this opening issue. And for me, like, we knew Angel was going to be like one of the characters that like is a character who we know well. Like we're dealing with a lot of like C-list mutants. Obviously, we have like Wolfsbane, who's a name that we know. We have Fire Fist, who we really only know because of Deadpool 2. We have Havoc, who's like probably number 2 in terms of billing on this. So like we didn't like, obviously I expected to be invested in Angel. I didn't expect to be as invested as I am in him after this first issue. Really promising first issue for that character. And that's just a small example of how good Mark Russell is as a writer. The plot and everything, again, the commentary, like I love what he did. And Bob's art complements Mark's writing style perfectly.
There's some panels towards the end there of Bob's work that's just absolutely tremendous. Some great action scenes. But what I love this was, you could tell Mark was having a lot of fun with it. Like, we know, like, his social commentary is fantastic, and sort of the way he deals with, treating X-Force sort of like, I don't want to say like a reality show, but like just sort of giving it that sort of treatment. And there, I can't remember I can't remember which character because I get a headache, so my brain is Swiss cheese at the moment. But he's like, I got like Buster Gold. Or Booster Gold, vibes from one of the characters. It was a lot of fun. And then it kind of takes tone-wise, it takes a turn on a dime there. And the way the first issue ends, it was absolutely fantastic. So I enjoyed it very much. And the only reason why I read this issue was because of the tandem of Mark and Bob. So glad I did. I enjoyed it. And I definitely giggled in a few spots there.
Yeah, quality start to this. And X Factor, not a title that I would be like, oh, I got to pick this up. But obviously, like that creative team, they have my attention fully. From DC this week, we got Action Comics 1068, Green Lantern 14, Batman and Robin issue 12, Batman Offworld issue 5, Gotham by Gaslight, The Kryptonian Age issue 3, Absolute Power Task Force 7 issue 4, Death in the Family Robin Lives issue 2, Outsiders issue 10, Gotham City Sirens issue 2, Wayne Family Adventures issue 125, Primer Clashing Colors issue 2, and then DC versus Vampires World War V issue 1. Okay, opening issue to this, like but I have like DC versus Vampires has runway. Like it's got a ton of cool action. It's like table setting. It felt like it was like we've been away for a little bit. Let's get set up, and if you're new, here's kind of the lay of the land. So I felt like it was okay, first issue, we're good. Let's go into second. And I love Otto Schmidt's art style. He's one of my he kills it. I feel like I don't see his work enough, honestly.
Yeah. I'm going to run through these next two real quick. Well, not real quick. I'll run through this next one real quick, and then we'll dive in. So from Boom, we have Profane issue 3, which continues to be a massive mind bleep. And then we have Sir issue 1. I don't know. This is a Boombox book. I didn't get a chance to read it. Did you get a chance to read it?
No, it's gotten a ton of buzz. I think it's like an anime art style, I think, from what I saw. So I think it got a ton of buzz. I don't know if I saw anything about it selling out or whatever, which sometimes we do see before things actually hit shelves. So I don't know. Probably worth it for one of us to check out if we get time to. But obviously, you and I have been talking about like this just you say how it's a light week, but like it's a light week, but like we're both reading like 6 or 8 books. So it's like that's a moderate week for us.
Yeah, looking at you, Image. And then from Dark Horse, speaking of books here, so we got a few. So we have Into the Unbeing issue 3, which continues to be a great series. Vox Machina Origins issue 3. Minor Threats presents Barfly issue 2,
which I believe it's too. Yeah,
it's Kyle Starks. Yep.
Yeah.
Heart Piercer issue 4, which you've been reading. Which I can't wait for you to talk about because I desperately want to read this story ASAP. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, Land of the Giants, issue 1. I feel like you could just call it Land of the Giants. And then 2 books we want to discuss. I will kick us off first, Nicholas. I don't know. Did you get a chance to read this?
Guilt Frame? I did not. No.
Okay. So Guilt Frame, I mentioned this last week because I think in our solicit, originally it was due out last week, but it was in our Dark Horse bin this week. So it's Guilt Frame issue 1, written by Margie Kint and Matt Kint, with art by Matt Kint. This is great. This is great. I love Matt's art style because it's very Lemire-esque, and I do enjoy that. But this is about an aunt and her adoptive son. That's not really spoiling anything. And what's great about this is that it sort of starts you off sort of present day, and then it flashes back, and that kind of opening to the first issue. But what's great about it is you learn about these 2 characters. The aunt seems fairly wealthy, and she's buying a pair of chairs. She wanted these golden gilt frames, but they were lousy, so she ended up bidding on these chairs, and the person that was bidding against her, his internet got cut off, so she ended up with the chairs. This person keeps harassing her, so that piques her interest into, well, there's got to be something special about these chairs. And then the mystery that revolves around that, and you find out that these 2 characters are sort of crime solvers, right? Detectives, and they're I wouldn't call them private detectives, amateur detectives in their own right. But it was just a really cool premise, and I love these 2 characters because they're both very quirky and eccentric. And then when you find out a little bit more of the backstory, for the reason why it's she adopted this boy. Is great. So the whole story is absolutely fascinating. So I don't know if Margie Kint is Matt's wife or his daughter. I probably should have looked into that beforehand. But loved the tone. I loved the voice of the storytelling. And Matt's art is great. So it's not like a hairball where it's like a straight up Mad Kit horror story. This is scratches everything that makes me itch there with the mystery stuff and everything that unfolds. So I was very, very pleasantly surprised with the story.
The first thing I saw when I checked it was that's his mom.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah,
Well, that then makes a little bit of sense considering the characters at hand here. So, all right. I
that's an
was
interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting rank.
Samsonite way off.
uh, that's the first time I think that I've seen that, so that's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, this sounds like you. So I didn't read it. Like I
I'm not going to
prioritized.
call it dibs.
Okay,
You can give it a go. Yep,
okay, cool,
it's
sounds good.
excellent. I'm just my dibs list is very long at the moment.
Yeah, we're both working on a little bit of pruning. But that only means that we're talking about better and better books because the interviews are forcing us to prioritize. But anyways, the other book that we have out from Dark Horse this week, which you guys may have heard us talk about already, again, if you subscribe to our audio channels, Kill All Immortals issue 2, of course, written by Zach Kaplan, who we had again on recently. The artist is Fico Ossio, and Fico's work is what's going to stay with everybody after this second issue. He killed it in the first one, but my God, the action that we get in the second one is insane, and especially later on in the issue, the final page, man, friggin' batshit crazy. Like I was looking at it again, like as you were like talking about the Kit book, and I was like, I'm thinking about the main image that takes up that page, but I was like, there's another, like the first panel we see on that page too is like that's pretty fucking cool too. Like amazing issue for Fico Ossio. But I do think for me, coming out of Kill All Immortals issue 2, the thing that I'm most excited about is what we learn about the Aswald family's powers. Very exciting for that development, and I feel like that can lead to chaos in a few different ways. And it also, like, to me, open things up for like, okay, like I know that Zach has to plan for like, if this ends in 5 issues, it ends in 5 issues. But he has told us they want to go beyond the 5th issue. I like that really opens stuff up to me. I was like, okay, I see how that could like change things and extend this story beyond.
Yeah, he did not too much, but just a perfect amount of backstory in this without it feel like it was taking you out of the story.
Yeah.
That just opens up the mythology, to these characters in this world and can really take it in a bunch of different directions if he's able to, which I hope he is. But yeah, this book is visceral. Like the art is gorgeous. And it's very gutting at the same time, pun intended. So if you haven't been reading this, what the hell are you doing? I think
Seriously.
Zach said that issue 1 did sell out at the distributor level, so that's great. So keep it up, keep reading it, and if you haven't, go buy it.
Yeah, seriously, it's so cool. I mean, the cover too. Again, I'm not talking about it, but like when we first interviewed Zach about Kill All Immortals, that's all I wanted to talk about was the fucking cover work. I think it's Oliver Barrett. Yeah, Oliver Barrett. Just amazing stuff. From IDW, we got My Little Pony Maritime Mysteries issue 3 and TMNT Night Watcher issue 1. I'll take us through these next few, Joe. Mad Cave, we got Soul Taker issue 2 and Defenders of the Earth issue 1. From Vault, we got Barbaric versus Stalker, issue 1. I think this is actually a one-shot. We've talked about it previously. I'm very excited to check this out. We didn't get the review copy for this. Otherwise, I would have been talking about that for sure. From Dynamite, we got Red Sonja, Empire of the Damned, issue 5. Darkwing Duck, Negaduck, issue 7. Vampirella, 671. And then Johnny Quest, issue 1, which brings us, Joe, to Image and Skybound.
Yeah, we got a lot here. So we have Geiger issue 5, Napalm Lullaby issue 6, Precious Metal issue 3, Rifters issue 3, Violator Origin issue 1, and then we got 3 books we want to quickly talk about. Nicholas, why don't you choose where we start?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Falling in Love on the Path to Hell, issue 3. We didn't get a chance to talk about issue 2. I think this was when we were, because last month we didn't do any What's New. But this is, of course, by Jerry Duggan, art by Gary Brown. Raved about it after the first issue. And after after the second issue, we knew things were going to get dicey for McCraith and Asami, but like I didn't expect it to escalate to the level that it did in this issue. Holy friggin' shit, man! They do not fuck around in this story. And also on top of that, I knew that I liked these characters a lot. I am now 100% invested in McCraith and Asami. Like I've really liked them from the jump. The story around them has been great, but by the end of this issue, like I felt myself caring about them beyond the idea of them both being badass characters. Like there's more of an emotional investment for me in these two now.
Well, I think because it's the first time too, we're sort of seeing them behind the eight ball a little bit. And you know, because they've sort of been, you know, they're obviously opposite ends of the spectrum, and this issue sort of forces their hand a little bit. So the action, the storytelling, everything about it, like you're 100% correct. These are two characters that it doesn't take long for you to become fully invested in, and then this issue really really just sort of cements it. It's like, okay, I need to see these two characters taking names and kicking ass, and I need to know how this ends.
Yeah, it's it's an awesome book, man. Like it's like we've been talking about it a ton, and I just can't wait to like. It's definitely on page like as a TLDR worthy book through these first three issues. There's no question about it. We're not gonna. Well, we could. There is a world in which we could talk about it, but that's a conversation for TLDR 100. So I actually have not read Transformers issue 11 yet. I know that's one you wanted to dig into. How was this issue?
So I mean, it's excellent. It just what a bunch of Eisners.
Yeah.
I just love, where the story's been going, and this issue in particular really, it sets up a lot of excellent shit, if you will. We've sort of seen our heroes again, to borrow a phrase I just used, behind the eight ball, right? And now we're starting to see, the good guys make a stand, right? Make a charge. And there's some things that unfold at the end of this issue. You just go, God damn it. Like, I need issue 12 now. Like, I need it now. This comic's been so good that I've been giving my physical copies, even though we get the review copies. I've been buying the physical copies, and I've been giving them to a patient of mine who loves Transformers, and his daughter loves Transformers. So that's how good the series is, because I don't give away my floppies to just, I don't give them away, period. So that's how much I love this story and in this entire universe in general.
I gotta say, in the past, this is issue 11. Like this has been one of the most surprising books for us. I don't think we have a category for that in the floppies, but like if we had a category, if we created like most surprising book of the year, I think that would have to be named after Transformers, because we're not like I'm especially like not a Transformers guy. It just
same.
Yeah, just like never did a whole lot for me. I saw some of the movies. I don't even know if I've seen all of them in their entirety. Like this has been so much freaking fun reading these stories. That is actually a book that I caught up on this week. I had been behind by an issue, but I was not behind on The Domain. Issue 2 of that is out this week from Chip Zdarsky. And we're spending more time with our three characters that we've gotten to know a little bit. And they're starting to make some choices, Joe. And I don't like it was interesting. I felt like the first issue was setting the table, having fun, getting to know some characters, figuring out what's going on in this world. And then in this issue, it's like, wow, like this could go sideways really fast in a few different ways for a litany of reasons. Like this was issue one said it was a good table setter. And I think anybody who reads Public Domain should be checking that out. And obviously you read that first issue, have fun with it. The second issue is like, wow, this is okay. Like this set the tone, I feel like, even more than the first issue did.
And what I love too is the juxtaposition with The Domain. I mean, with Public Domain, right? Because we're, in the last issue of Public Domain, you see the original creator coming, having a really hard time, dealing with the idea of his character, his story being something different than what he originally planned, right? The idea of three domains, and then where sort of the artists and the writers, the perspectives they're coming from, and then we see what they're actually doing. And what I loved about this issue was that it already has gone sideways. There's out of the three, there's only one of them that has their shit together. The other two are mental midgets at the moment, right? And they're dealing with a lot of shit, and they're not handling it well, right? They're not
No.
handling the newfound abilities real well. So I love that idea where you've got that sort of split where you've got the one character who, like I said, is the least likely you'd suspect to have their shit together, being the only rational voice in the room. And you've got the other two just sort of doing their own thing, and both are very, very destructive, to be honest with you. So
Yeah.
excellent. Absolutely. As I told you, there's no one better than Chip when it comes to just sort of understanding the sort of the human psyche and then translating that, to his characters.
Yeah, he is. He's one of a kind. That's for damn sure. But that is it for us for what's new this week. Look at us being efficient. Maybe we should have our
Wow,
100.
real efficient.
We should have our 100th episode every time after we do what's new. That'll really help us move things along. So if you are listening to us in audio form, again, the TLDR 100th episode will be available in audio form on Thursday. If you want to go and watch it, it'll be after you're listening to this in audio form. It'll be available on all of our streaming pages. If you're watching us live, make sure you stick around for a little bit. Joe and I are going to catch our breath, and then we're going to get into TLDR 100. Very excited. And for a few minutes, Joe, make sure you stay sexy. All right.
Keep it 100.